Welcome to the Endless Honeymoon Podcast, Mother's Day edition.
I'm your host, Mrs. Casher.
Oh, I love the sound of that. Why didn't you change your name?
I would have if your last name was something cool.
You don't think Casher, like money, cash, money, is cool? You should have. Here's what I think.
It's okay.
You should have changed your name to my name because of my gender. Because of my maleness. Doesn't that make sense in a way?
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
Roseanne Arnold. Think of it. Roseanne Arnold.
That was weird that she did that.
Did she marry an obscure comedian and started going by Arnold? Yeah, that was weird.
Well, because Roseanne Barr is a good name. Barr. It's like kind of like.
And she was famous.
She was famous.
She was freaking famous.
And they went together. Like Roseanne Arnold, it kind of makes her. If you're just looking at names, makes you a little more basic. Roseanne Barr, that's like a little bit more like.
You raised the bar.
Yes, exactly.
But you're a Benedict Arnold. Think about it. Everybody should think about things. Actually, that's not the regressive, male-centric position I wanted to take on today's episode. I don't care. I would have not let you change your name to my name. Actually, I would have said you're crazy. That doesn't make sense from a branding perspective.
If you pronounced it Casher, like Natasha Casher, I would do that.
Oh, that sounds awful.
I don't think it sounds good. I'm just saying, it has to have flow.
I've known a lot of people, you included, that have names that their families pronounce in a not snobby way that have decided they're going to start going in the snobby way.
I like that.
Yeah, like my friend Michael, everybody in the family calls it Braillard, but he goes by Braillard.
As he should. Braillard is a dumb last name.
And you. A lot of your family pronounce it, what, Ligara?
Ligero.
But you brought some lightness to it. You call yourself a Ligero.
Yeah, but that's because that's what, the old ancestors said.
It's
and
the
also
real.
That's how they would pronounce it in college.
And to be fair, they also probably said Braillard back in the French countryside when they were ripping crusts off of loaves and eating brie. Now, Natasha, I have a different regressive male position that I wanted to bring up.
Is this about how you think Mother's Day should be for your mommy?
Well, and
you don't want to tell our kid that she needs to get me a present and start prepping her?
That's not it at all. I think Mother's Day, and I think it happened in my generation, because I don't remember it always being this way. Mother's Day has become a sham for Big Mother. And they've started manipulating men into thinking that it's their responsibility to celebrate.
Of course it is. Moshe, you do not get it.
Their wife and the mother of their children, but that's not it at all. It's actually your child is supposed to celebrate the mother, and you're supposed to celebrate your mother. It's Mother's Day. It's not I know a Mother's Day.
Do you remember on Father's Day, you came up to your office and we decorated your door to your office and said, Happy Father's Day? You think our child would have gotten out the Scotch tape and had the idea to do that?
You're misunderstanding me. I'm all for that. I support Father's Day. Father's Day is a good day. No, I'm all for parents helping the kid honor their parent. That totally makes sense to me. What I'm talking about is, we went to soccer class with our kid on Mother's Day.
Yeah, and how many of the mothers showed up?
None of them.
Except me.
Right. That doesn't make sense because the kid is supposed to be with the mom. Why are you letting your wife mother sleep in as if she needs extra time to not engage in motherhood? In fact, hold on. Here's my wildest perspective.
You don't even have a perspective. You're just being funny.
No. Here's my wildest perspective. Actually, you should let the father sleep in that day. Because you're the mother. You should go mother. I should be chilling.
Moshe.
I should do
Mother's Day. It's very nice that all those fathers gave all the moms 2 hours off from the soccer fields.
Yeah, it's very nice. And they've been manipulated into that niceness by maybe the greeting card industry.
By Big Mother?
Big Mama, and Big Mama's House 2, starring Martin Lawrence.
See, this is what I don't like. You're pretending like this is your ironic take when really it's your real take.
Well,
You're trying to make the viewers think that you're just making jokes when really that's what you think.
First of all,
you really do think that you should only be celebrating your mom.
I think I should be, first of all, let me stop you there. First of all, they're listeners, not viewers. Even when they're on YouTube, they're listeners. And second of all, they're not even listeners, they're family to me. Our podcast listeners are family. And by the way, they came out in record numbers. We sold out our show at the Netflix is a Joke Festival, and it was so freaking nice. It was such a good show, and you'll hear it very soon. But I support the part where I engender in our child a love of you and help her get a gift and help her make the day special for you.
She did give me a beautiful stone from the crystal shop.
Tiger eye.
She gave me a round tiger eye, and she said that it would help me
make money.
She
now,
said
that
it would
I
help
was
me with
involved
work.
with. That I was involved with. She wanted to get you a stone of love, and I said, no, we're getting her a stone of money. That's just a joke.
Wait, you took her to the gemstone place?
Yeah, I took her to the gemstone place. That was actually very funny. The woman at the gemstone place at the flea market, we were like, I was telling her that each of the gems had like a property. I mean, not that I'm a big gem believer. How funny would that be? I'm like very anti-ghost, but I fully believe in the power of crystals and gems. But I was asking her, like, ask the lady what this one does. And the woman would come over, she goes, oh, that one is very good with protection. I'd be like, great. We go to the next gem. What about this one? Oh, that one is protection. And like all of the gems, I was like, are you just making this up? They're just all protection and financial boons. Anyway.
No, they say you hold a stone, and if it and you shut your eyes, and while it's in your hand, if you start to move forward, that is the stone you need.
Oh my God.
That's what my friend told me, who took me to a crystal shop.
Okay, so if you fall...
What do you want from me? I'm just giving you information.
It's interesting. Anyway, we also got you a really nice bouquet of dried flowers. They were like...
Oh my God, it was so sweet. Moshe gave me this bouquet, and
I didn't give it to you.
Oh, that
I didn't
was
give
from
it
her?
to you. The child gave it to you because I don't get you gifts on Mother's Day because you're not my mommy.
No, but what you did was perfect. But I also feel like this is my fourth time, like being in your face, telling you have to tell her to get me something.
What you did was perfect, but here's a little bit of way that you didn't do it.
No, it was so cute because you think flowers are a waste of money.
No, actually, these were perfect.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. This bouquet was so you because it was dried, but they didn't look dried. So that was pretty impressive. I'll post a picture. I don't know where you got these. But Moshe was so proud because he said, they'll last a year.
Yeah, that's what I hate about flowers. It's so weird. It's like, hey, here's some rotting vegetation. You can throw it away in a week, or you can forget about it, and eventually it will become like a stinky eyesore. I hate flowers, but I get them for you because I know you love them.
So romantic.
Well, anyway, that's my big point.
Here's some dying detritus. That's what you should have the card say.
Here's a salad that's rotting.
And then my child gave me this really pretty card where she just said how good a care I take of her. But she said it in like 4 different ways.
You're always there.
She was like, you're always there. You always take good care of me. And whenever I need someone to take care of me, you're there to take care of me.
It kind of suggests that you hover.
No, I was almost feeling like, shouldn't she like one other thing about me besides how well I care for her?
Every time I turn my head to the right or left, I see your face mere inches away from it.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to post it and you guys tell me because she did recite it and you wrote it. So
I didn't write it.
Oh, her teacher wrote it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to post that. You guys let me know if I'm too big of a helicopter parent.
No, but that's not the issue. The issue here is weigh in on what I'm saying here. I'm supposed to spend time with my mom. My child is supposed to spend time with her mom. I'm supposed to help her spend time with her mom. I'm not supposed to let you sleep in and make you breakfast in bed because why should I?
You do need to do that part.
Why? You're not my mommy. Oh, I honor you. You know, all this honor.
Moshe.
How many posts did you...
You sound so dumb right now.
How many... Okay, let me put it this way then, if you think I sound dumb. How many posts did you see on Father's Day of all these women going like, this man, this special man on Instagram, without him, the child rearing process would have been not. But this special man, the father of fathers, you never saw that. But every single person in my feed was posting pictures of their lover, talking about this is the best mom in the world.
I don't need a post. Here's what I need.
What you need?
Bring me some coffee in bed one time a year.
You're not my mom. Go get your own coffee.
Moshe, nobody agrees with you.
I bet. Here, now, let me tell you this.
Some people who don't have wives agree with you.
Let me tell you this. Here's a position that I am... I'm pretty sure you're right. No one will agree with me. In fact, I predict I'm going to get a lot of people saying I'm a fucking idiot.
Okay.
But I stand by what I'm saying.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I went to a dinner the other night.
Yeah.
To promote our show Rat in the Kitchen on TBS. And I was seated across from a woman and she was like, yeah, the pandemic. I was saying how hard it was. She's like, yeah, my husband, he brings me coffee and breakfast in bed every day. And then guess what? She said, but during the pandemic, and then she kind of made this face. She said, it was lunch too. So they're out there.
She's going to write that. Wait, was she saying it like I feel bad telling you that because he's so awesome, or I'm over it?
Because he's so awesome.
Oh, I read it differently. Like she was like, ugh. Now,
no.
I always thought he was sweet. I found out he's a clingy little bitch.
No, during the pandemic, he brought her not just breakfast and coffee in bed, but lunch too. And while she worked, and she worked from her bed for some reason.
You know what he brought her for dinner?
What?
Under glass, a pair of his balls, and he was like, "Here you go."
Listen,
see, you married a real man, Natasha. That's the problem here. You married a real man, and I don't cuck myself out.
You're trying. Let me ask you this: Who gets up with our child every morning?
You get up more often with our child by far.
Okay, so you don't think that on Mother's Day it might be cool for you to get up early with her?
First of all, don't silently burp during the podcast. Second of all, how about I do it on your birthday and Valentine's Day? All I'm saying is I reject the notion that because you're a mother that the father should do I don't get that part. I've got a mother. I have to bring her breakfast in bed and gently kiss her forehead and rub her feet.
You would too. Have you ever rubbed her feet?
My mom?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never rubbed her feet. You know, my dad used to make me rub his feet.
That's very bizarre
and disturbing a little bit. It's one of those
one
of those memories when you get older, you look back and go, that seems bad, actually. Yeah, he would make me rub his feet. But then I'm like, also on the other hand, I'm like, yeah, it seems a little creepy. But also, if I could indoctrinate someone in my household that one of their duties was to rub my feet, that would be kind of cool, actually.
I would rub my kids' feet if they were sick.
Would you let them rub your feet if you were tired?
I would rather go pay for a massage.
Wait, Natasha, aside from my unbelievably brilliant...
Which your dad didn't want to do.
What's that?
Pay for a massage.
I guess that's right. He already had an in-house masseuse.
But like his standards must have been pretty low.
8-year-old foot massage. Wait, Natasha, aside from my unbelievably brilliant points I've been making this whole podcast episode, we've left out a huge thing. It was Mother's Day, and you're not just a mother. You're not just... some mom that's always there, ever there, always there. You're also actually about to become a published author on a primer about motherhood and how to rear a child in the apocalypse. Natasha, tell us. This is a big announcement. Natasha wrote a book.
I wrote a book. It's called The World Deserves My Children, and it is now available for pre-order. So why don't you pre-order it? And then maybe we'll figure out a way because I know some people want to listen to a book.
Audiobook, they call them. Yeah, they're called.
And I haven't recorded that yet.
Right, and you'll probably say to all the viewers listening to my audiobook, because of earlier, remember when you called our listeners viewers?
Okay, well, check it out. My book is now available for pre-sale. Sign up for it. Whenever I love someone, I always sign up for the pre-sale. It's basically you guarantee that you get one and you're showing that you want one, and it's just...
Can I hype up? You're doing a lot of talking about the technicalities of what pre-ordering means, but can I hype up the book itself?
Well, because it's not out yet, so I feel like I have to have that caveat.
Well, let me hype up the book itself. I read the book.
You did read it.
Because I'm close to the author, and I gotta say, it's insightful, and it's very personal, and it's very sweet and very good. But it is so like evisceratingly funny. It's like joke per minute with a really, really good emotional core. But it's such a good book, and
I'm glad that you thought it was so funny.
It's so funny.
I feel like for me, I really feel like it's important to talk about my journey through motherhood and what I would suggest people do and do in the right amount of time. You know, like you kind of have to freeze your eggs by the time you're 38.
But I
did 37 though. That's kind of the 38's the cutoff now.
Well, that's probably why our child was born with a goatee. But I will say most parenting books that I've looked at or read, even by comedians, and I'm not knocking those books, they're all good, but they all lean towards the direction of sincerity because of the topic at hand. But you did, I thought, a really cool thing, which is that you definitely, like I said, it does have heart and it is really sweet, but it definitely is more.
I want it to be informative.
But it's more of a comedy book than it is a like heartfelt. To me, I thought that was...
It's a comedy book, but it contains the pearls of wisdom to have children.
I'm just
because
saying...
there's this one book I read that nobody ever talks about how you got to like stick your finger, like not just ovulating, but you have to like stick your fingers up your vagina like every day if you're trying to figure out when you have the egg white consistency. See?
Egg white consistency.
See, but this is why...
All I can say...
Can I just say, though, this is why no one talks about it, because as soon as you start talking about what you really need to know, the information you need to be able to have a child, people like you, people like me are like, ew, can you please not say that?
Let me just say this. I
normalize
egg white consistency
vagina
talk.
meringue pie.
Let me just say, though, I'm not a troglodyte. Like, I made a face.
You're not. You're like, ooh, Mother's Day. Make your own coffee, bitch.
What am I from King of the Hill now? Let me just say, I look, listen, I'm not a caveman. Like, yes, I made the face on egg white consistency, but when it comes to the part before that, right? What did you say? Egg white consistency, but what's before that? How do you get to the egg white? You do what?
You stick your fingers up your...
I did that to a number of women in my teenage and 20s and even into my 30s.
That's really cool of you.
Helping them along their journey, you know? So I definitely am, I'm an ally in that way. Natasha's book is so great. It's called The World Deserves My Children, and it's all about her journey into motherhood, her experiences as a young person.
Kind of like comedic essays.
They're really funny.
You don't have to like read it all the way through, but I mean, that is recommended. But you can also skip like chapter 9 because that's just an interview with Moshe.
You could skip that one. But all I'll say is pre-order that book because you don't have to be a mom to like this book. That's what's cool about how funny it is that it's a laugh out loud, really, really funny book about Natasha, her experience, and the ultimate experience of her life, which was meeting me and being able to be with me. Hey, Tosh.
Yeah, Moshe.
You know, for a couple of fashion plates, the two of us truly are bad at dressing our child in the latest trends.
Yeah, I just kind of like put on whatever she will wear.
I'm doing sackcloth recently.
Cute.
It's not cute. And that's where Stitch Fix Kids comes in, because keeping up with your kids' growth spurts and changing tastes can be a challenge.
You know, we got this amazing box. We took the little quiz, and there's so many cute things. And we're going to Europe, and now she's going to be dressed so cute, and I'm so excited.
Chic. I mean, all those little French snob children are going to look at our child and go, now that is an American beauty. Stitch Fix Kids is the effortless way to get clothes that fit your kid and price range, with items starting at just $10.
With your feedback and input, Stitch Fix learns about your kids' tastes, which hopefully are your tastes. And I guess your kids can have their own taste, right?
Well, at 4, her tastes are definitely our tastes. She generally likes to dress in 15 Disney princess tutus at once. And that's why we're grateful that Stitch Fix stepped in, sent us a box of really cute stuff. These little cute pajamas, this really cute t-shirt.
Oh my God, the swimsuit.
The swimsuit, the sunglasses. She's going to look like a real ingenue.
And it's so cheap. Oh, you didn't even see the shoes.
They're cute.
Oh my God. Your kid can try on pieces at home before you buy and just keep what they love and send back the rest. Plus, shipping, returns, and exchanges are always free. They made it so easy.
And there's no subscription required. Simply order a refresh as needed or set it and forget it. With regular seasonal fixes, you're in control.
Try today at stitchfix.com/honeymoon and you'll get 25% off when you keep everything in your kid's fix.
That's what I call a fatty D. A fat discount.
Ooh.
That's stitchfix.com/honeymoon for 25% off when you keep everything in your kid's fix.
Stitchfix.com/honeymoon.
Hey, Tosh.
Yeah, Moshe?
Are you doing an Australian and or New Zealand accent by any chance?
No, I'm not.
No?
No.
Well, if you are doing an Australian accent, that's good timing because I wanted to talk to the folks out there about KiwiCo.
I love KiwiCo. I feel like I wouldn't know what to do with my child on the weekends if it weren't for KiwiCo.
That's right. They send you this box full of toys and STEM games and challenges and puzzles, and it's so fun for kids. And when our kid gets it, she lights up. She goes, Mom, Mom, did my KiwiCo come? Or something like that.
Your child can get super cool hands-on science, art, and geography projects delivered to their door every month. Also, it has her name on it, so she loves it when it comes. You'll be surprised at how high quality the materials are, too. These are real engineering, science, and art projects for children.
When they open these boxes, it's always a yes. It's never a nar. So check out KiwiCo. You can get 30% off your first month plus free shipping on any crate line with code HONEYMOON at KiwiCo.com.
That's 30% off your first month at KiwiCo.com, promo code honeymoon.
Step into spring and celebrate the season of discovery with a KiwiCo subscription that'll have you saying, no, yeah.
Could have done without that tag. So in honor of my book, we are going to answer some of the questions that have been coming in about parenting.
What a great idea.
We went through them all. We've had texts. We've had emails. People want some answers. So and also, in return for me answering your question.
Pre-order that book?
Pre-order that book.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, here's a question. Their icon, their little handle here is a child. That's
Okay.
always a good sign. How to be a functional stoner around my kid as she grows up.
Fascinating question. Fascinating question. How do you balance smoking with raising your kid? What's your answer, Natasha?
I mean, to me, the main issue around smoking pot is safety and making sure that your child is always safe. So I recently read an interview, or I read something that said that apparently you can stay stoned for up to 3 hours after you're stoned. So you just have to be careful in terms of driving.
The article said you can stay stoned up to 3 hours after you're stoned. It was written by somebody stoned?
Well, they were just saying that after you've gotten high, you need to wait 3 hours before you operate machinery, which is a car. That seems important.
Part I'm having a hard time with here is around my child. Your child doesn't need to know that you smoke pot, and you don't need to smoke around your kid. Just go away and smoke.
Well, they probably want to know what other. I mean, I just feel like a stoned person, as long as they're full of immediacy and present. They're present. I don't think that's bad to be around a child.
Yeah, it's probably more fun actually to have a stoned parent than to have a parent that's fiending.
Right.
Here's a tip for the functional stoners out there. Hide the gummies. Go ahead and
that's
hide
very important.
the gummies.
That's what I'm saying, the safety aspect.
Because you don't want to be getting your kid high on 16 gummy candies that are going to send them to the hospital.
You have to have a dedicated place that's high up where you keep your weed.
Yeah, you get a gun safe and put the gummies in there, but call it the gum safe. Here's another tip, I think. Well, not even a tip, but about assuaging guilt. People feel guilty because they get stoned and they're a parent and they think they shouldn't. You know what no one's ever done because they were so high on pot?
What?
Come home angry and start hitting the kids. But the alcohol, that shit happens all the time. Rageaholic people come home drunk and the kids are scared. Nobody ever cowered in the corner because daddy was smoked a blunt.
That is so true.
Or is it? Now, I wonder if we're going to get an angry email from somebody.
I mean, growing up, this was very real to me, and I don't know anyone who... I've never heard of pot smokers.
I think
I have to say, pot wasn't that big in the 80s. When we grew up, were people smoking pot? It seemed like they were either on cocaine and rich, or they were just drunks.
Well, I don't know. I didn't grow up in the 80s. I grew up in the 90s. I'm much younger than you.
No,
and it was huge. The Chronic.
You're 5 years younger than me, but I do feel like it's the same genre.
I think pot was pretty big, always.
Really? Among adults?
I don't know.
Among kids, for sure, but I'm saying growing up, my parents. The parents were always
I grew up in the Bay Area, hon, so it was different.
I see.
Everybody smoked pot. And, you know what I do think, not to short shrift.
I didn't know anyone who smoked pot, anyone's parents who smoked pot, but I knew a lot of alcoholics when I was young.
Not to short shrift anybody's trauma. I think a lot of people felt like their parent who smoked pot could become checked out. So that's another thing for this parent who wants to know how to become a functional stoner. As your kid, I believe this. if you're going to get high, you are responsible, now that you're a parent, of really and honestly interrogating and regulating the amount you get high and the amount that it makes you out of it. Like, you have to be responsible to make sure that you're not one of these people that smokes pot so much you're not doing the things that you're supposed to be doing as a parent. Like, you really have to know and be honest with yourself to make sure that you're not creating. It's not as bad of a trauma as, rage and getting hit, obviously, but it's still a pretty bad trauma if somebody's so high that they're kind of like checked out. So check yourself before you wreck your kids.
No, that's good to know. And you don't want to be someone who gets high and then is only able to be nice to their partner or their child or their mom or whoever if they're high, right? You want to make sure you're like checking that you're having some like good feelings and like that feeling of being high but not being high.
Is that a thing that you're only nice to some people when you get high?
I remember a mother I knew who had older children who told me, I like when my son is high, he's nicer to me.
Oh, that's bad.
I think so. I mean, I don't think it's bad, but I just think like you need to make sure that you can be nice. And I think
that normal.
Yeah. And I think that could translate to your partner as well. You don't want to like only be able to deal with your partner if you're stoned or only be able to deal with your kid if you're stoned. You just want to balance it.
Here's a good question. Should we change the subject?
Well, I was just...
You want some more? I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's good.
No, please. What?
No, I just saw something. I averted my eyes.
What? A rat?
No.
A rat in the basement?
Worse than a rat.
A mouse? A tarantula?
A nicotine packet that you put out of your mouth on the...
Why would you bring that up on the podcast? It's so humiliating. Is it this because of Mother's Day?
My eyes went to it, so...
Okay.
Sorry. I don't know what to do.
Well, one thing you could not do is bring it up on the broadcast that we put out to literally 4 million people a week. 4 million people a week listen to this podcast. Anyway, let's move on. This is a good one for us.
Okay, you do one now.
I've only got one child, and I feel inclined to make play dates for her, but I dislike other school moms. Help.
I mean, it's like, be lucky that you're not dating to try to find a mate to make a child, because that takes a lot of dates. Like, you just have to go on a bunch of dates. You got to find someone who doesn't annoy the shit out of you, and it's only an hour, and try to meet them. Here's what we do sometimes. But I like the kids at the school that our kids go to, but
yeah, well, you got to say that at this point, don't you?
No, sometimes I get busy and I'm like, well, we are going to be at this park for this thing at 12. So come at 10 or come after. And then I've been able to meet friends that way. You're already going to be at a park.
We're lucky because a bunch of our friends had kids at the same time.
That's
now, it
true.
seems like this person, based on her avatar, is very young, and maybe her friends don't have kids. And so she's having to saddle herself with these other parents that she finds annoying.
And she has an only child. So there's like a lot of added stress. Like, dude, we saw our friends last night. They were out to dinner with 2 kids. And you forget, like, these people with 2 kids, their kids are just like having a fun ass time under the picnic table where they're eating. Like, They're always engaged and playing with someone else.
Whereas with us, we're constantly trying to entertain our child because they don't have anybody else, and they're becoming increasingly with every day more socially awkward and weird and adult-like in a way that is disturbing.
She's not, but still, it's like. Oh, here's another tip for this question. Classes.
I was just going to say.
Classes that you can, because here's the thing, even if the kid is 2 right now, soon they'll be 3 and then they'll be 4. And once they're 4, you can drop them off at classes that are like an hour and a half while like our child just started a cooking class, and then we can go run errands or do our thing or whatever you need to do in this hour and a half. And an hour and a half isn't long, but the real thing is your kid gets to socialize.
Yeah.
And I think that's the important thing.
I am with you, and I think classes are good because you can sit in the bleachers at a sports thing and the coach takes over and you just text. You don't have to worry about the other moms. Or you find classes where the type of moms that are going to be there or dads that are going to be there are more likely to be your kind of people. So if you're into funky stuff, you go to like like rock music kind of training.
I don't
classy
think so,
kind
honey. Not of these classes where you drop your kid off.
No, I'm saying go to classes where your kind of people are going to be attracted to it, right? So if you're like a hipster, you go to like a who knows, some kind of like poetry kind of music class that's in your zone or whatever. And if you're a drug addict, then you take your kid to a cannabis extraction class and where they learn how to make dabs, like stuff like that. And then you'll find the moms that are like you. All right, let's do another one.
Okay, here's a good one from someone called the Photo Birds. Best practice for rehousing tortoises. She's clearly.
Oh, she's a tortoise parent?
Yes. Which is somehow way, way, way more sad than being a dog or a cat parent.
The thing about...
No, tortoise parents are important because it makes people who are parents to dogs feel like they're actually doing something.
Well, no, but here's the difference between tortoise parenting and dog parenting.
Yes.
Tortoises live your whole life and then some. Tortoises can live to be like 100 years old.
They'll outlive you?
They can outlive you, yeah. They live for a super long time. So I would say rehoming a tortoise, you got to make sure that the person you're giving it to isn't a fucking deadbeat like you and isn't going to give it away again. Because that tortoise is going to grow up unable to attach to other human beings because it's going to feel like it got just shuffled around its whole turtle little life.
Okay, we have a lot of these to get through. So sorry, tortoise mommy, but we're going to have to move on.
Hey, Tosh.
Yeah, Moshe?
I'm feeling a little groovy right now, and I wanted to talk to you about DadGrass.
Cool.
I just drove by their billboard here in Los Angeles, California, and there's a big old picture of George Harrison on there, and it's really cool artwork, and it's because they have this like all things must pass blend that they made I'll just tell you what it is. It's a special blend of CBD and CBG along with a collection of toking accessories, and you smoke this stuff and it doesn't make you too stoned, it just makes you feel good. And they've got this whole package with the George Harrison album that's called the All Things Must Grass collection.
I love the stuff. They're 100% organic. Pre-rolled joints are very low in THC and high in CBD, so you can enjoy the effects of CBD while keeping a clear head.
And DadGrass knows you get by with a little hemp from a friend. That was a Beatles song that they're referencing. And that's because, like I said, they've partnered with the George Harrison estate to create that new CBD and CBG blend and accessories called the All Things Must Grass. It pays tribute to the man who always let the good times roll.
All DadGrass products are federally legal for ages 21 and over, and it ships right to your door anywhere in the U.S.
So if you're looking for a new buzz or a way to chill out and enjoy an old favorite, DadGrass will leave you in a euphoric mood. Right now, DadGrass is offering our listeners 20% off their first order when you go to dadgrass.com/honeymoon.
Go to dadgrass.com/honeymoon for 20% off your first order.
That's dadgrass.com/honeymoon. Hey, Tosh.
Yeah, Moshe?
I want to suggest something to you.
Yes?
You should go onto Talkspace and find a therapist that will help you say yes to me more often and to be just more chill in general and to let me do things the way that I want to do them. Does therapy work like that? Can you do targeted therapy where you try to enforce something externally on your partner through a therapist?
No, but I know what you're saying, and I think that I agree that you also need a therapist.
Well, good news for everybody. It's never been easier to find a therapist that can work with you and your schedule thanks to the people at Talkspace. You just go onto their website, you tell them exactly what's going on. Everybody's got something going on. Anxiety, stress, depression, relationship issues, not being chill disorder, which is what I think you might have, Natasha.
Well, also, haha.
Thank you.
I also think that, there is a time to talk to your friends, but sometimes it's nice to talk to a professional.
100%. The beautiful thing about a therapist is that they're not you and they don't know you and they don't care. So they're outside of you and they can help you get perspective. Not that they don't care, but they're not in your life. They're going to help you get perspective on your problems, and we all have problems. And Talkspace makes it so easy. They've got a 24/7 text, audio, and video messaging feature. You can talk to a licensed therapist without even needing an appointment.
If thoughts and emotions are piling up, a fresh perspective can help you feel better. Match with your dedicated therapist today at Talkspace.com and use promo code honeymoon during sign up and get $100. Did you hear that?
$100. I love it.
$100 off your first month.
That's $100 off at Talkspace.com, promo code honeymoon. Don't wait to tomorrow to start helping yourself today.
It seems like after having children, sex has become a chore to my wife. How do I change that? Well, that's interesting because that's what his point of view is. It's not just that it's not that it's a chore exactly, but it's like we're busy. You know, like my husband doesn't even want to bring me coffee on Mother's Day. So here's the thing. I go to sleep early because I have to get up early with my child. So if you want to have more sex, and I'm talking to you, Moshe, here's what you do.
I'm actually good.
You give her those nights where you're like, you know what? I'm not going to watch Star Trek, the next generation again on repeat.
Such show. There's no such show.
While she's going to bed at 11. Oh, what a pussy ass bitch.
That is how I talk.
The reason why I'm going to bed at 11, and I'm making this about us, is that I know I've got to get up at 6:30 or 7, and I don't want to be tired because I've got a lot of things I have to do after I bring my kid to school. So I'm just saying, you know, the more you luxuriate and give your partner these kind of like mornings free,
what on
that
earth
kind
does
of
this
thing,
have to do with this guy
you
getting
have
laid?
more sex because nighttime, you know, guys want to have sex at midnight. And the woman's like, I need to go to bed. They're already like strategizing.
When you say guys and the woman, I think you're talking about you and me.
I'm just saying, you know, having more of a luxury of time affords you more space for sex. And I think a mom doesn't feel like she has that a lot of times. And so it's challenging because like a lot of times you tell me, you're like, well, you go to bed early. And I feel like I'm almost like cast aside as like not a cool person. But I go to bed early.
This is your bizarre self-consciousness. This has nothing to do with sex.
I have a feeling his wife does the same things.
Why? Why do you think that?
Because every mom I know does the same thing, except they go to sleep even earlier than me. And it's because we're tired.
So you're saying you think this person's wife is tired and that's why the sex has gone down. Here's what I do. Here's what I would say. I would say leaving Natasha's self-consciousness about the fact that she goes to bed early and has done so since way before we had children.
Well,
and it's always been true, and it's always been true way before we had kids.
I like to go to bed at midnight, but now with a kid, I go to bed around 11.
Whoa, it's that hour that is creating the unbelievable sex desert that the two of us have.
When do you like to have sex?
I like to have sex at 3:30 in the morning.
No, you like to have sex at about 12:30.
No, I like to have sex at night. You like to have sex in the morning. That is the thing. But I don't know how you and I could have more sex. What we're supposed to do it 4 times a day? I literally don't understand. What I'm supposed to not watch Star Trek: The Next Generation in order that we get a 5th fuck session? Anyway, I think this person, my opinion, you're probably right that it's tired, that this person's tired, and that will wear off, I think. I think that as time goes by, that you know, the tiredness will go away because the kid will be in school and things will start to right course a little bit, you know? And so I think that the sex will come back, but I think it's important, as I think you think, that you never have a sexless marriage because sexlessness leads to like it becoming a phenomenon in your relationship. And once you stop having sex, you said this yourself, once you stop having sex altogether, then it can become this thing. And then you're like a year in and you're like, I just don't have sex with my wife. That leads to divorce, infidelity,
especially
all that
if they
stuff.
have options. If they have options, your days are numbered.
But here's what I think about this question. This needs to be discussed out loud. You can't just his question is, how do I change that? Well, you can't change your wife. You can't walk in and be like, you know, we're going to be having more sex now because she doesn't want to. But you can start to infuse the conversation with some openness. Go to a therapist, or if you're scared, and if you're not, just direct. Say, how can I would like to have more sex. And I know that that's not where you're at. How could I make it our relationship so that you want sex more often? So that
I already told you how. Bring her coffee in bed 3 days a week. I would like to go every other day.
To restate, I'm good. I'm having enough sex and I'm happy. I'm
Great,
not
honey.
the guy that wrote in.
No, I know. All right.
He's a different guy.
Let's move on.
No.
Sorry. I just think that there's like, I want to emphasize and re-emphasize like sleep. Sleep is important. And if you're kind of like bearing the brunt of like a lot of the extra labor, like having to get up and make the coffee and the breakfast and the lunch and the snacks and pack them and have them all ready to go.
The whole subtext of this is that moms do everything, dads do nothing. And that is not a characterization that I accept.
Reason why I wanted to do this podcast.
That's a honk of shit to me.
I hear you, but I'm just saying, you know, like my daughter's Mother's Day card to me. Thank you for taking care of me. You take such good care of me. I bet hers to you would be like, you're so fun. Thanks for always letting me have fun and giving me candy.
Why does she sound dumber? Why does she sound dumber when she writes me the thing? You know what's funny is the first.
My main goal is to just take care of her.
You know what's funny is the first draft of that letter that she wrote was, you'd be surprised and probably gratified to hear. It said, "Thank you for always taking care of me. As you know, Daddy does not. He is often checked out watching Star Trek: The Next Generation. He goes to bed at an unreasonable hour." You know, Natasha likes to tell me to go to bed, and I'm like, I'm 42. I put myself to bed, or my mom comes over and puts me to bed.
Sometimes I'm like thinking, you know, I'd love him to get up, because you can't go to bed at 4 a.m. and get up at 7.
I
let you sleep in every morning.
That's just simply not true. But I love you, and I don't know what to tell you.
Did you sleep in this morning?
Did I sleep? I happened to go to this party until 2:00 in the morning last night.
All right, well, let me check in next time we do a podcast, and we'll see if I was like, oh, did I wake up with the kid today?
The whole thing is,
when's the last? All right, I went out of town for 2 days.
You go to
I know that's true. I did.
What do you mean? I didn't bring it up because that's not. I don't pack my grievances into a briefcase to await our podcast recording. But yeah, Natasha, the 2 days prior to Mother's Day, went away to a desert hot spring resort to go pamper herself, and I took care of the kid.
That was cool. You know what? That's what you should do to your wife.
I do that to my wife.
I'm talking to this guy. I'm talking to the listener.
It doesn't do any good, brother. Let me just tell you. You let her go, and she'll come back and start complaining about what time you get up and the shows that you watch to put you to bed. So you know what? The truth is, I think you should just become an incel like me.
Okay, here's a good one, and I'm going to be...
I want to clarify.
Yeah?
You and I have a very good sex life. I'm happy with it.
I know, but I was just recognizing, like, I
just made a couple jokes where I said we're in a sex desert and I'm an incel. I have the vibe of an incel, and I use the language of an incel, but I have sex every single day. All right.
Okay, so here's a question. How to encourage my husband to do some reading/research into parenting?
Oh.
This one's easy.
Yeah.
You together read a book about it, and you have to be really committed to it.
I like that.
And you have to research what the right book is. I think you and I have read a couple books together. We definitely did before she was born.
I also have a suggestion, which is to find some books that are written to fathers and not general parenting books, because I found myself responding to those, and so I.
What was the one you liked?
Eat, Sleep, Poop.
Kids Poop or something.
Kids Poop. And then another thing I would say, because men are incapable of reading books, is try podcasting. Try some podcasts about parenting, but that are not mom podcasts. Because honestly, I find mom podcasts to be a little annoying. And if you find a parenting podcast from a father's perspective, I'm sure it's out there that could be a cool one too. And you guys could talk about that together too.
We're a parenting podcast. Just listen to our podcast.
There you go. That's a great idea. Listen to this podcast. My good friends and I both have 4-year-olds. I like my friend and my kid, but not their kid. What do I do?
That'd be funny if she's like, I like their kid and my friend, but not my kid.
But this is a hard one. What do you do?
I know. I was going to have you answer this one. Because I don't really know. I'd like to know.
I really think it doesn't matter. I mean,
here's what some of my friends do, who I like their kid and I like my friend. They just want to hang out a lot without the kids. So you can just be like one of those people.
Well, I would go the other direction. I would say, the question you should be asking is not, do you like the kid? The question you should be asking is, does your kid like the kid? Because if your kid likes the kid, then you got lucky enough to be able to have a friend who you like to talk to. What the fuck do you care if the 4-year-old that is hanging out with your kid is annoying? Unless they're like destructive or
yes, they're probably giving your kid bad habits. So I actually don't recommend this.
I recommend it. I think you got lucky enough to be able to hang out with your kid and with somebody, to be able to hang out with your friend, and your kid has somebody that they like. Who cares if that kid's annoying? Also, here's a big one. Similar to, let's just keep trading phones back and forth. Similar to the sex question, this is going to change. That kid won't be annoying forever. That kid will probably chill out.
What?
Kids change. They rapidly and often
You got
change.
better, but I mean, I've been around tons of kids
This
that
is
have
a
only
4-year-old.
gotten worse and worse.
This is a 4-year-old.
So
So you think when a 4-year-old's annoying, they'll always be annoying? You don't think they grow up a little bit and become cooler?
I guess they could.
They do. It's common.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other thoughts, Natasha?
Maybe we could do one more. I have to go.
Well, let's go.
Okay, let's do one more. This
Okay.
is a hard one too, though. My daughter has always been a terrible sleeper to the point where we now co-sleep. Help us unring this bell. I like that phrase.
Well, unfortunately, the answer from my perspective is not easy.
What is it?
It's like there's no such thing as a terrible sleeper. There's only a weak parent. And you got
Moshe, you can't say that. Your kid, just because you have an easy time.
all I'm saying, okay, look, that was overly prescriptive, and I'm sure it's not true, and I'm sure specific people have specific situations. What I'm saying is getting your kid to sleep in its own bed, and this is wisdom straight out of Eat, Sleep, Poop, is really about you and your emotional connection to how horrified you feel when your child screams when you put them down. And so you feel so weak and so sad and so emotionally entangled with the kid that you run back in and comfort them.
So this is like cucks only do this.
Well, no, every parent does it to some degree because you run in because you love that child so much you can't help yourself. The problem with that, and again, this is just an opinion, I'm not a parenting expert, but I did read it from a pediatrician parenting expert from this book. The problem is every time you run back in, you undo all of the work that you did to try to get them to sleep, and the whole thing starts over. So the way to get your kid to sleep in its because your kid will sleep in its own bed eventually. That is a natural state for a person to sleep in their own bed. It's not natural for a kid to sleep with their parent when they're
And sleeping with a kid is annoying.
Well, hold on, let me finish that sentence just to make sure nobody gets pissed off. It's not a natural state for a kid to sleep with their parent when they're 16, right?
Right.
We all agreed on that. So at some point we have to agree that kids sleep alone at some point, right? At this point, it's impeding on your freedom and your life. So you want to be able to sleep without your kid in your bed. This is a good time to start. You have to start being tough. Your kid will not die if they cry for hours in bed without you. They won't die. They will eventually fall asleep.
Every night our kid's like, it's dark in here. I hate the dark. I hate being alone. Tuck me. You forgot my chin. Tuck in my chin. I mean, if I was like a little weaker, I would just be like, and also, I don't know. I do think.
We're sorry for saying weak. We don't mean weak. It's natural.
I got to say though, if I wasn't married, I probably wouldn't be able to be that
to do
strong.
It. Well, if I hadn't read this book and the logic of it made so much sense to me, I probably wouldn't have been able to do it either. But
Moshe has read one book on parenting and he is going to lord it over all the listeners.
I'm just saying this book changed my life because it had such an exact breakdown of how to do it. Of how to get your kid to sleep in its own bed and to stay there. How you do it. You don't do it all at once. It's not a cry it out cold turkey. It's you put your kid in. There's a whole system. I don't even remember it because my kid sleeps in her own bed now. So just read that book and do that system. But the thing is to have discipline and know that it's going to feel like hell and like you're a terrible parent, a terrible person. You're allowing them to cry and suffer, but it's not true. You're actually allowing them to grow. You're allowing them to grow detached from you because that is the job of the parent, is to teach them how to live on their own, even in minuscule little ways, even when they're really young. You give them a little bit of freedom, and I think that's normal and natural.
And it's funny how discipline hurts you sometimes.
Totally, because all you want to do is coddle them and cuddle them. The ultimate example to me is she mispronounces words, and I find myself not teaching her the correct word because I like it. But my job as a parent is to teach her how to pronounce words. That's part of it, right? So she says, I did it by purpose. I didn't do that by purpose. And I love it so much that I want her to keep saying she did it by purpose. But really what I'm supposed to be doing is it's on purpose, honey. I'm a man. I'm supposed to explain things to women. That's sort of my job.
I wish she still said I'm snarry.
Oh, that was the best. Snarry. We didn't let go of snarry for a while. The truth is, you're right. You're right. They do pick it up on their own, and eventually they drop all those cuteisms, and eventually they become teenagers probably, and they smoke blunts with you, and you don't have to hide your stonerism anymore. They smoke blunts and go grab your tortoise from the neighbor's house that you left it to, and then they come back home with the tortoise to see that mom and dad are fucking because you got your sex life back on track. And so everything will happen according to its plan.
All right. Well, I hope we got enough answers.
I think
to
we did.
everyone. And this has been a great episode.
If you have any other questions about parenting at all, pre-order Natasha's book, The World Deserves My Children.
Yeah.
Where can they find it?
Well, this is cool. I posted a link on my Instagram, and you can actually decide what bookseller you'd like to go to.
Oh, that's really neat.
You can go to an independent bookseller. You can go to Amazon.
Oh, I'm going to go to Amazon. I'm not trying to support independent booksellers. So Amazon. Awesome.
You can go eventually to iTunes when it's on
audiobook.
But
Oh, can you hear Natasha's voice? Say it again. Say The World Deserves My Children, but like real sexy.
The world deserves my children.
You're going to get to hear that dulcet tone in an audiobook for hours at it. I mean, fuck, that is amazing. That is so, actually, you should be lucky enough that we allow you to pre-order it. Okay. So you're welcome. Natasha, we got to go, but I got to tell you something. Despite it all,
Yes.
I love you.
I love you too.